Welcome, luxury enthusiasts, to the Luxury Travelers Podcast, hosted by Rodney George. The ultimate passport to opulent destinations, extravagant experiences, and unparalleled indulgence. Whether one is a seasoned jet setter or daydreaming of the next lavish getaway, the Luxury Travelers Podcast has it all covered. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the lap of luxury. Now, your host.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is when you finally are getting around to watching this podcast, and you are going to be so glad that you tuned in for this one. Seldom if ever do I have a repeat guest, but when I met with Tim, our special guest today, last week and saw this new itinerary for the Naples Zoo's trip to Africa, I said, Tim, you got to come on the show. So Tim Tetzlaff, Naples Zoo Conservation Director, welcome back.
Thank you, Rodney. Pleasure to be back.
It's a pleasure to have you. And I was reviewing this itinerary over the weekend, and all I can say is all caps, wow.
Yeah, this is a truly special one. I had the pleasure of building this with the co-founders of Giraffe Conservation Foundation. So it is, in a nutshell, an amazing bespoke luxury safari to Namibia and Botswana with a huge cherry on top that you're traveling with the people that are influencing conservation for giraffes on these landscapes and getting just unparalleled access to these people in the field. So it is... it's an exclusive opportunity. This is not a commercial safari. This is a great opportunity for folks to get up close and have a very special experience in Africa.
Folks, when you get to page 5 of this itinerary, you'll be blown away at the personnel that Tim has assembled for this special trip. I didn't realize that there was a real shortage or an issue with giraffes, because I've been to Africa several times. And I never heard that. Is there an issue? Is there some concern? And obviously a reason for conservation, but is there some concern about population dwindling and that type of thing?
You couldn't have highlighted that better, Rodney, because people do travel to Africa, and giraffe are as obvious on the landscape as they are. It's hard to be 16 to 18 feet tall and not get noticed.
Yes.
I'm 6'5" and I stand out in the crowd. The challenge, it's almost like the issue with lions, where people went to the national parks. You see lions, you see giraffe, you think they must be doing okay. In fact, the BBC and PBS special that was done with the folks that we're going to be traveling with was talking about the silent extinction, because people don't know what's happening. So everybody's aware how rare elephants are. And that's obviously been an issue for decades that people have focused on. There are 3 to 4 elephants for every 1 giraffe.
Well, I know you're going to get into it, and tell us why that is, but tell us give us a 30,000 foot view of this. I think it's 12 days, isn't it?
Actually, plus one.
Plus one.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still pretty good at first grade math. That'd be 13.
It indeed would be. And we can arrange for a day or two early arrival as well. If you want to shake off a little bit of that jet lag, we have options for a tour through Windhoek. So when we back up at 30,000 feet you asked for. So you'll arrive in Namibia at Windhoek, the capital of the country. If you're not familiar with Namibia, it is extraordinary. Windhoek has been called the cleanest capital in all of Africa. I've had wonderful times there. It is a country that has few people and a very large landscape. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to see a very different Africa than many people have experienced before, in a very different landscape. So we'll have a little bit of time in Windhoek if you arrive early. And then we head out to our main lodge where we start the safari, which is Omanda Zanir Hotels. This is a wonderful property. Again, we've got top of the line lodges throughout. And so this is a private reserve. You can go out rhino, carnivore, elephant tracking with these folks. You've got, beautiful pools. Your Your suites are everything you'd want them to be. And right off the bat, when you land in Namibia, and this is the thing that gave me a crick in my neck when I was there, is the star field. The first time I looked up, I didn't realize people without telescopes got to see a world like this. When you look up, when you're out in the bush, and you see the Milky Way,
I know
like
you
a
have
paintbrush.
You have an
across the
incredible
sky.
photo in the packet here. I couldn't believe that. I thought it was fake.
No, it is absolutely stunning. And the fact that you can just go out and look at that from these very remote landscapes where we'll be is truly an extra bonus among many bonuses here. So we'll start off at Omanda. We'll be greeted by the co-founder and CEO of Giraffe Conservation Foundation. So that is the only giraffe-focused non-government organization that focuses on giraffe conservation across Africa. They work in 21 different countries. They have influence over 100 million acres of giraffe habitat.
Wow.
And in fact, their translocations, bringing giraffe back to landscapes where they've disappeared, has added 12 million acres of giraffe habitat. So it's an enormous responsibility these folks have on their shoulders. I'm honored to serve on their board of directors. I'm the only zoo representative on that board. I'm just thrilled to be able to have these relationships that I can then bring to our Naples audience. And so we've got a spot for 10 people to come on this safari with us. It is a chartered flying safari. So we'll have a wonderful time getting to meet Steph Fennessy, co-founder in Windhoek at Omanda. And then from there, we will take a flight up to a private reserve that borders Etosha National Park. So that's the most famous national park in Botswana. And we'll have a chance up there to meet with their program coordinator at Etosha Heights, Martina Koesters. So again, we're working with people who are in the field. So it's a little bit different. I've got wonderful friends that do the National Geographic safaris. They're National Geographic explorers. And they have their expertise. What's a little bit different about this is we're working with the people that are working directly in the field right there with those animals. And so we can join them out in some of their field work while we're enjoying the luxury safari. So it's just unparalleled access, like I mentioned before.
So tell me, just take a time out for a second from the itinerary. Sure. What is it that has brought the giraffe population to a level that's so concerning? I mean, I can understand because there's been a lot of hunting over the last several decades by people who don't have the love for wildlife that you and I have. But what is it with the giraffes?
So giraffes are primarily loss of habitat. There are sometimes they've had issues in particular landscapes where you've had significant levels of conflict. And if you've got a rebel army, you can feed a lot of soldiers with giraffe meat, and it's relatively easy to find. So that's been in specific locations where we've lost giraffe populations. Actually, in Namibia and the southern part of the continent, where hunting is still allowed, those populations are thriving. And so that's been the good news is with proper management on some of these large landscapes, the numbers of giraffe in consultation with Giraffe Conservation Foundation and the recommendations they make for national action plans, they're making a difference, and those numbers are increasing. So it's there's some nuance in the world of conservation when it comes to how you talk about hunting and poaching, and what works one place doesn't necessarily work another. So anytime we talk about some of those challenges, you got to be very specific, where and when, and who's involved. And I'm grateful to say in the big picture for the areas where we're going, is some careful management is moving the needle in the positive direction.
Wow. I know you're going to get down to it, but you guys are going to do some really cool stuff with giraffes while you're there as well.
Absolutely. Yep. We'll get into that. So, in the private reserve, we're going to Safari Hook Camp. The the private airstrip right next to the property. So we'll transfer right away, have lunch, get settled in. They've got a really beautiful setup. They have a 2-tiered blind where you can go and take a look out over the water hole to see all the different animals coming in. That can be rhino, lion, leopard, giraffe, elephant. And so it's great opportunity for photography and just sit there with your beverage and see what nature brings in to get a drink. And so while we're there, as I mentioned, Martina Koosters, who's the coordinator up there, will take us to the office, give an overview, and then while we're out on the game drive, appreciating all this extraordinary wildlife and an amazing landscape, we'll have a chance to actually help out with some of the things that she does in that area. That's checking certain things, looking at camera traps. So we'll get an insider's look into giraffe conservation with the person that's leading it up in that area.
So as I was reading through this over the weekend, I couldn't help but think, I don't care how many times you've been to Africa, you're going to want to do this trip. And then I got to the part where it's only for 10 folks.
Yeah. So as this is a flying safari, we've got chartered flights throughout. We have limitations. And also, we could have gone 2 planes, but then you're breaking down the amount of access you get with these very influential folks. And so we wanted to make it just priority that when you're having a drink at the Sundowner, sitting around the fire at the dinner table, you're not one of many. You're there in a very small group with access and being able to have those really amazing conservation conversations. And that's it's truly special time.
Yeah, this is amazing, and I simply can't imagine anybody not wanting to spend this time with you and your newfound friends at the foundation. But wow,
yeah.
It's
so
pretty
from Safari Hook, from that Etosha National Parks area, we take a flight over to an iconic part of Namibia. Many people might have heard the term Skeleton Coast. And this is that area. So we are going to walk away for just a couple nights from the giraffe focus and see just some spectacular areas of Namibia that you've seen in National Geographic. So we'll be able to see seal colonies, shipwrecks. If you want to be a little more adventurous, you can do the sledding down the dunes. You can grab a quad and go out for a guided tour on the dunes. There are lions, elephants that you can see out in different parts of the area. And we're staying at a remarkable location because there are shipwrecks in the area. They kind of modeled these cabins, your private cabins, after the shipwrecks that are along the coast. And so it's Shipwreck Lodge. And again, just the theming of this site and just the dramatic landscape is truly extraordinary. And you can look out from your window to see lions or elephant moving through a landscape that is so far from Serengeti. It's hard to imagine putting these species into this world, but that's where they are in the Namibian landscape for us to appreciate. And so we'll also have a chance to be out in that space for some very special meals along the coast and explore everything there is to have at the Skeleton Coast. From there, we jump on not another plane, but initially when I was talking to everybody about this, it's like, okay, well, we're going to fly to the next location. They're like, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, why not? It's like, you got to do this drive. So it is from the Skeleton Coast to the Wanab Valley. And along that drive are just some spectacular landscapes. So we'll see the clay castles. We'll see the stone men of Namibia, which is this mysterious thing where these stone sculptures started appearing a few years back. And so it's just a little bit of quirky Namibia. So picture the muffler men, but with some African mystique added in. And you've got the concept for these stone men that are human placed in recent years. But anyway, it's a spectacular drive that takes us into the Wanab Valley, where we will be at the Wanab Valley camp. So we'll be there for 3 nights. This is a tented camp. Forget everything you've ever thought about with tent camping. If you did Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or went out with a family and pitched a tent out in a national park yourself, these are full-blown luxury tents, en suites, gorgeous deck views, and the landscape where you're at. We'll have some photos up during this time, I'm sure, that will show you not only this amazing mountain desert landscape, but also that star field that we talked about. So while we're there, enjoying all there is to see, the giraffe, elephants, lions, everything that's around here, the Hemsbach, the oryx, antelope, just dramatically colored in these beautiful, beautiful horns, all this wildlife. But while we're there, Giraffe Conservation Foundation has basically coordinated one of their expeditions to align with ours. So we'll be joined by the Director of Conservation, Julian Fennessy. Dr. Fennessy is the co-founder, along with Steph Fennessy. Yes, they're married. And also the Director of Conservation. So they have a satellite tagging expedition aligned with this safari. So this is part of the largest giraffe tracking across the continent. They do this in countries all over Africa. And the satellite tracking basically uploads informed science about what giraffe are doing, where are they moving about, their range sizes. There's a lot of just great science that comes out of this, and it's very practical. So this is not ivory tower stuff. It is helping countries to determine how to protect their giraffe. For example, they can go to a country, and if they're looking to draw a map for a protected area, they've got the data to say, don't draw the line there. Giraffe aren't using that space. Draw it over here. And so that takes boots on the ground and getting your hands on giraffe to put satellite tagging on them. So they've got these custom designed satellite trackers that go on the tail of the giraffe, and then that uploads to satellites. So they've got an opportunity for you to go out there. The team will do all the darting, and as the giraffe is safely on the ground, you can come out and be right next to a wild giraffe as this is going on. You can be as observant or involved as you want to be in that process. You can be taking down the notes to say, okay, we've got measurements, because they do full workups on all these animals very quickly. So you can help take the notes, go around, feel the breath out of the nostrils of a wild giraffe. I mean, just things
up close
yes,
and personal.
yes, in a way that is very respectful, but also part of scientific research. So it's a beautiful blend of a wonderful experience, but it's not done in a way that it's some kind of it's not just being done for us. These animals are put in a situation to help science. It's not something that's being done for a safari. And so being able to be part of this Africa-wide research on this satellite tagging is truly an extraordinary opportunity.
Wow.
So that's where I'm very grateful for these long-term relationships that I've had with Giraffe Conservation Foundation and Steph and Julian and their team, that they're willing to coordinate this with our safari to give 10 very lucky travelers an opportunity to do something that precious few in the world have had the opportunity to do.
Now, this
usually you've got a degree after your name to get a chance to do that.
This is where you took that photo of the Milky Way, right?
Yeah, that's at the Wanna Valley camp. It's not my photo, but yeah, that is.
I was going to say, what kind of camera was that?
I'm not capable of getting a shot that good myself.
Oh, I know.
I'm practicing to try to get some more of those myself, because it is, like I said, I didn't think people without telescopes got to see this.
No,
when I would just look up at the night in the Namibian sky and see this, again, it was one of those things like no camera captures that horizon to horizon look in the same way. I compare it to when I was down at Iguazu Falls down in Brazil. I'm a waterfall nut, and there is just no video, no photo that can capture some sites. That Starfield's one of them.
I know. I slept under the stars near Jack's camp.
Over in Botswana.
Yeah. And the guide that was with us, he had told us the night before, be prepared because tomorrow night we're going to see the Southern Cross. And so I had the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song queued up, and I had my little boom box. And so when he started talking about the Southern Cross, I started playing that, and about half the people in our group started crying. It was such an emotional moment. I can't imagine what seeing the Milky Way like this would be like.
Yeah. No, it is an absolute treat, and something you just don't forget. So we have a wonderful time there. So again, this is an incredible time. You've got a bunch of the team there, and so you can just be sitting there having your gin and tonic or your Windhoek lager, or they've got some phenomenal South African wines, of course, and just be talking to the people that are shaping the future of giraffe conservation. And you just spent the day doing that with them. So from there, we have 3 extraordinary nights at Wanabella Camp. And then from there, we take a drive to one of the Himba communities. And so those are an indigenous culture, long history in the site. So it's one of those cultural experiences. You just have to take advantage of those opportunities to see a very different culture and to get to experience that. It's similar to, you don't want to go into East Africa and not have some time with the Maasai tribe. And so the same thing here with the Ovahimba. And so from there, we'll have that opportunity. And again, part of an extraordinary game drive to the airstrip. And then we take a flight over to Botswana. And so we land in Maun, which is the safari capital of Botswana. It's right near the Okavango Delta. Mm-hmm. And so we've got a very short drive down to Tamo Telele. So we're there for just one night, and it is amazing property. Again, we've got a couple Giraffe Conservation Foundation related folks that work in that area, plus Steph Fennessy will join us for that part of the safari. So we'll reconnect with her. And they've got about a herd of 20 giraffe that are coming into this space. And again, nothing between us and the giraffe. As we're under an overhang, we can have high tea or a sundowner with just watching these animals come in. Truly extraordinary. It's the giraffe experience in this area. So we'll have overnight there. The next morning, we have helicopters arriving that are going to take us up to Tawana. So this is an incredible camp. It just opened last year. This is incredible. I'm sorry, I'm using the same word too many times, but this was an extraordinary collaboration between Natural Selection, who is our company on the ground that's coordinating all this for us, with the local chief. They've been in this area for untold number of generations. They have not had this area open before, but they wanted to do some things collaboratively. They opened up Tawana Lodge. These are multi-room suites. It's over 1,000 square feet that you have to yourself. Private deck, plunge pool. You're overlooking the river and the landscape. To give you a little bit of perspective, you could pick up Naples Illustrated from January. That's the lodge right there in the magazine, Tawana. And we'll have photos and all that. But yeah, that's out there. Get your private plunge pool and just accommodations that you can't imagine while you're looking at these kind of landscapes. And so Africa does that so well to bring us into the wild while providing full luxury. And so we're in the Okavango Delta. That it's about a 25-minute helicopter ride that takes us up there and just gives us access to this completely naive area to be able to enjoy nature in untouched and just a miraculous level of access. And so they've done this very well and very respectfully, working with the local community. And the reviews, even though it just opened last year, are off the charts.
How close are you to Victoria Falls at that point?
So we're a few hours away by plane. And so, if people do want to head to Victoria Falls after that, we certainly can arrange an extension. And if enough people like to go, then I'll see about joining them as well. But it's, when you're in that area, it makes sense if you've got the time, to spend a couple 3-day extension over Victoria Falls. So, again, the southern part of the continent has so many things to offer. And this particular adventure not only is providing you a luxury experience, and again, the conservation elements, I don't want anybody to think, oh, this is going to be rough and tumble and I've got to do. No, this is a luxury safari. You can do as much or as little of that as you'd like. It's just, if you want to talk about an exclusive experience to tell friends back home, I can't think of something better than this. And so it's it's an opportunity also to contribute. We have built in a $5,000 donation into the price here. So, and we'll arrange that so it's tax deductible for you as well. So you're going to have a wonderful time. We've worked out, because of the relationship with Natural Selection and Giraffe Conservation Foundation, they give us favorable pricing, so we can direct that fund to Giraffe Conservation Foundation to be philanthropic and to be supportive of giraffe conservation that way as well. So we've tried to put everything together here to make it a remarkable trip that you're just going to tell people about for years to come.
Well, you know, we like to put together all kinds of things, golf trips, different cruise itineraries, whatever, that we call bragging rights. If ever there was a bragging rights trip to Africa, this has got to be it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I greatly value about long-term relationships, long-term partnerships, and that carries through, you know, the fact that I've been working with the same travel partner for 15 years now here in Naples. We value that. That makes a difference. And because these long-term partnerships in conservation between Naples Zoo and our field partners, that gives us access and relationships that you just don't get any other way. Some of these partnerships we have go back over 30 years. And so with Giraffe Conservation Foundation, obviously me being on the board, that shows a level of relationship that they value and gives us an opportunity to do things that wouldn't be possible other ways.
So if you're watching this and it's not too late yet, because this is going to, I guess we'll release this later this week, you can call our toll-free number, which we'll put on the screen here. And Theresa.perez, who's been handling the trips for the Naples Zoo for 15, 16 years. Yep. And I'm privileged to have her to work beside her all day, every day, 44 years experience in travel. And she's not that old. I think she started in kindergarten or something.
When you said that figure, I'm like, I can't believe that. I can believe it from her level of knowledge, but...
I said 42 the other day, and she corrected me. It's 44.
I'll let somebody else say that number, not me.
So if you want to know more about this, Teresa's the right person to call in our office. She'll email this whole lovely itinerary out to you. Or if you happen to be in Naples and you're watching this, just stop by the office. We've got it all printed up and ready to go for you. Tim, I've known you for, 6 or 7 years now, and you put together some incredible trips, but I just got to tell you, I think this one may just take the cake.
I'm really pleased. We're building some wonderful relationships out there that I can offer things that simply can't be put together on commercial trips. So I'm very grateful that works out, and it brings conservation and what's close to my heart and my legacy here at Naples Zoo into the world of a lot of other folks here in Naples.
So, folks, if you've never been to Africa, or if you've been 10 times, you're going to want to take a real close look at this trip, but don't look too long, because Tim only has spots for 10 people. So let us know if you're interested. And Tim, thank you so much for coming on the show again. I know you got a million things going on. I appreciate you giving me a half hour of another one of your busy days. And just remember, and I say this every show, but really get out there and enjoy yourself, because it is later than you think. Take care, Tim.
Thanks so much, Rodney. Look forward to having another wonderful safari together.
Thanks for joining us on the Luxury Travelers Podcast. For more information, head on over to luxurytravelerspodcast.com to connect with our team or leave us a message. Until next time, safe travels and savor the extraordinary.